Welcome to the first new car of 2025. Okay, so it's not from 2025, nor is it really a car, but for 20 points this week you can go ahead and grab yourself the 1965 Deberti Chevrolet C10 Slayer. And I've got to say, what a title that is. From stock, this thing has 1001 brake horsepower, 905 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs a whopping of 4,650 pounds with a 6.2 litre engine. And it looks evil. I mean, just look at that front splitter. That looks absolutely fantastic. Going to the side, part of the truck bed has been completely cut away so you can make this thing into a 6x6, which is absolutely mental. There's a massive rear wing. I mean, what else is there to say? Also, the massive blower sticking out the bonnet as well. Going to the inside, we've got a digital dash and a pretty cool looking, I guess, hydro handbrake to the side of us. But I know what you're all here for. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this thing. So here we are now over in the upgrade shop. Let's go ahead and jump straight to conversion and see what we've got. I'm going over to engine swaps as well. We've got ourselves we've got ourselves a 8.9 litre V8 dual supercharged engine capable of 1,500 brake horsepower and then 1,750 brake horsepower out of a 7.4 litre V8 twin turbo engine, which is absolutely insane. If you want to, you can also go ahead and make this thing all-wheel drive as well, but we'll come back to that a little bit later on. The one thing I do have to say though is there's a distinct lack of categories to upgrade, which is a bit of a shame. In the meantime, our very own mechanic Mac has been very busy putting together this tune, so let's go ahead and bring up the share code very quickly. There it is. Feel free to go ahead and grab that for yourself, and I'm going to do that about now. And we are jumping straight into the chaos because we are starting out with nearly £5,000 in weight and a whopping 1,750 brake horsepower. This is going to be insane. So with those tunes installed, we're now over at the paint shop. Let's go ahead and take a look. We've got two advanced paint groups for this thing. Paint group number 1, of course, being the main body of the truck. And paint group number 2, what do we have? It is the blowers at the top, the hydro handbrake, and also a tiny little piece of metal just over the back of here. I mean, the thing that would have been cool is if it also painted the rims as well, but I guess we can't expect Forza to do everything. So I've been doing a bit of research on this thing while I've been waiting for it to save the tune, which took an agonising nearly 8 minutes, by the way. And apparently this thing is a one-of-one built to look a little bit like something you would find from Hot Wheels, which I do find very interesting indeed. And it has also been given numerous awards over at the SEMA Motor Show as well, which is very interesting indeed. And now we're about to go and race this thing. And away we go with the wonderful Deberti Chevrolet C10 Slayer. It's got quite a decent name to it, and I've got to say it's got some decent looks to it as well. I've got to say it's stock. This thing is hilariously understeery, and it looks like even trying to tune this as well, it is still relatively understeery, unless you have a very certain specific way of driving it, which I've still very much yet to learn. I think something that is pretty cool is the fact this thing is putting down quite a fair amount of power, 187 down through that turn, which is not too bad indeed. And also how we in the turns, well, we're good until we get pummeled by another Chevrolet Bel Air. In the meantime, if you wanted to buy this thing for yourself, with it of course being a one-of-one, it's very tricky to find, but it did sell at the 2024 Barrett-Jackson car auctions for a whopping $330,000 US, which is approximately this in pounds sterling, by the way. And as of right now, that currently ties with the highest price ever paid for a regular everyday Chevrolet C10, which is honestly absolutely insane that a C10 that looks just bone stock, completely normal, ties with the same price as this thing. And up until the news about Series 42 happened, I didn't even know this thing existed. Either way, 95%, one more turn to go, so through we go, and across the line, somehow in first place with this thing. I really don't know how, but we've done it, and we also got a time of 1 minute 58. So after quite an interesting race, we're now straight back over to the upgrade shop because there was meant to be a drag team for this. Mac did try, but apparently the results he got weren't exactly what he was happy with, so now he's delegated that task back to me. And you know it's got to happen, we're going for a lovely bit of anti-lag. So we can go up to 295s at the front, and at the back we can go up to a whopping 335s. This is going to be mental. Or at least, I hope it will. Now, is it me, or does the front of this car look like a really tired face? So with all these upgrades applied, we're pretty much back to where we started with the race tune as well, just a shade under £5,000 at 4,916, 1,750 brake horsepower, and we're just around halfway through S1. And hopefully I don't have to wait another 8 minutes for this to save too. However, now that means I have to go ahead and tune this thing as well. Fun fact, by the way, the aero on this thing is actually tunable, so let's go ahead and throw that all the way to speed. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and take a look at the Horizon backstage, where this week we've got ourselves the Aston Martin Valkyrie and the Jaguar XJ220 versus the Gordon Murray Automotive T50 and the McLaren F1. Now, I've only seen the T50 once, so I think that one is going to get my vote. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. Okay, here we are now over at the back of the festival. Let's go ahead and see. Do we get a wheelie check from this thing? No, and I think that was about the worst one yet. Oh, to be fair, this thing does weigh roughly around £5,000. 2,000 foot challenge. That's probably this thing's braking distance. Anyway, let's go ahead and get ourselves on launch control, and away we go. 1,750 brake horsepower, but nearly £5,000 worth of weight. This thing is very, very hefty indeed. There's also something in front of us, and it's no longer in front of us anymore. But let's go ahead and see what do we get through the camera. 176. That is not good. And off the edge of the runway at 196. And actually, this thing's pretty heavy, so it's got some decent brakes for once too. Terrible and surprising. That's a new record. I think it's safe to say this thing's not exactly good as a drag build, so let's go ahead and throw on, see if we can find it very quickly, throw on some semi-slick tyres, and we're also going to go ahead and actually keep the tyre width that we've got, because we're definitely going to go ahead and need it, but we are going to go ahead and put this thing onto race springs and dampers, because I know we're definitely going to need those. And just for my sanity, we're going to go back and keep the regular 6-speed box in it too. You know, for a truck as cool as this, I'm a bit disappointed so far. And now we go back here and tune all over again. Oh dear. In the meantime, here's our Forzathon shop for the week. We've got ourselves the Lamborghini Veneno, the Backstage Pass, the Star 27 Sundress, which doesn't look too bad. We've got ourselves the Aston Martin Valhalla concept car, the Fred V and graphics car horn, which sounds a bit like this. There we go, a little bit of Horizon 4 memories right there. We also have ourselves the Super Wheelspin and the regular Horizon Wheelspin as well. And now, out to the motorway. And now it's our turn to play How Close Can We Get to the Motorway Grade? The first time we've done this throughout 2025, and we are nowhere near. New year, same old luck. Oh well. Right, here we are over at the edge of the motorway. We're on launch control, and away we go. Let's go ahead and see what we get out of this thing. I'm hoping for something a little better than 196. I'm not going to lie. That was very, very disappointing over on the drag strip. But let's see if giving it an entire motorway will be able to give it a little bit of a better top speed. If it doesn't, I'm going to be very, very concerned. And out of the speed zone at 217 miles an hour, which is not too bad. I mean, you know, it could be better. We're currently going through 222 at the moment, so hopefully the downhill on speed camera might be a little better. Although we've still got one thing left after this, which I'm really hoping this thing's going to be good at. And through the camera, 223.63, going downhill, 225, 226, 227, 228. Do we get any faster than that? We do, 229 miles an hour, which is, well, I'd like to say it's not too bad, especially with the aero this thing has. It's pretty much pulling it down to the ground as if it was on rails. But I've got to say, I feel like this thing could have gone definitely a little bit quicker. Although it does look cool, so I guess it's got that going for it. Now, one thing that I've learned about this thing that I was told by our very own mechanic Mac is that if you go into rewind, apparently it breaks the rear tyre's grip something chronic. Of which, to be honest, might actually be ideal considering what we're about to do next. So with the little rewind done, let's go ahead throw this thing into the drift zone and see what we get. I'm hoping from roughly about 30k just to, you know, go and prove that this thing's actually half decent when it's pretty much failed any other challenge. We've got 36,432 points on the first run, which is actually not too bad. Especially in the context of how this thing's done so far this video. And now we go for run number 2. Hopefully we can do better than 36k, although to be fair, it's not off to a good start because we're very, very sideways, clonk the edge of the bridge, clonk the other edge of the bridge, but there might still be hope. And there is 38,033 points throughout that entire mess of a drift zone. How I managed that, I really have no idea. It honestly feels a bit like a miracle. Either way, that is the Deberti design Chevrolet C10 Slayer. It looks very, very cool. It can drift somewhat okay, but it's honestly, it feels pretty much useless for anything else, which is a bit of a shame because this thing, you know, it looks really, really cool. You'd have sat there and thought, oh, this is going to be the best edition yet, but honestly, it's surprisingly mediocre. Although, to be fair, if you want something to look cool rocking up to a car meeting, then this is definitely going to be the truck for you. It's only 20 points and doesn't take you too long to get. If you want to use it for anything else, however, yeah, maybe reconsider. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And, of course, this is the first Forza video of this year officially, so Happy New Year as well. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Tech out. See ya. Right, on to the next one we go.